That's the vegetable patch. Get the lettuce once, Susie. Get the lettuce. Do you see any wheat? You see only moss.
Really small.
Charles' dinner or lunch. So the good old reliable Uchpi curry, some of them damaged by the birds it seems. But the best place for them is to grow them over the compost heap.
If you're starting out, that was what you had in mind.
This is Charles Dowding's vegetable garden in Homeacres, Alhampton. This Alhampton is a little bit of a strange name. Why Alhampton? Is it Arabic or something? Phoenicians were in this area in the past. It's Lebanese. Great color, I say.
So we actually have some money left then. You think we recognise the road?
You see the solar panels on top of the building? That's such a small land, and they can make a food crop. And yet they have some space for what? Oh, look at these beans. Yellow climbing beans. Just because of the color. Beautiful color combinations with these charts. Can you find a single wheat here? This is an apple tree, and that's a roasted apple. All kind of chicories. Oh yeah, and French dwarf beans. And leeks as first and only crop. These are harvested. All the courgettes. This one is mulched because there are some weeds yet which are growing there through them. Endives. This is a new area, it has mulched. All the winter squashes. And this is a bed of the Jerusalem artichoke. The apple is not doing bad. Looking an apple. That's a polytunnel full of tomato. Let's go have a look. The smell of basil. I think the polytunnel is just a little bit bigger than ours. Probably 1.5 meters. And most of the tomatoes are harvested. I see one single large black Russian one. And those ones are the ones that we saw in the Italy. I have a video about it. And some peppers. And a good mulch. That's what we have done also. Without a tomato and aubergine in a pot on a compost heap with some squash, winter squash. Or are they? No, they look like melons. The melons he told you are not going to be well this year. In every space is just aubergine. I think my polytunnel is much better. Really, really good with my own hands. And basil. And some other. Oh! Bell pepper. It's really prolific. And some of that Cape gooseberry. And lots of basil. You should do a basil patch like this. The idea is that half of the polytunnel is vegetables and herbs. Sure. You don't do just all polytunnel taken by tomato. This is a new bed that I made for the BBC. I cut and screwed the size on the day before, just resting on the ground, okay, and topped it with compost. And then planted this for BBC. I see radishes, I see pak choy, I see this mustard, I see frilly mustard, some, I think this is broccoli, and some frilly mustard again, and then pak choy again. It's got oriental leaves. So that's what you will see in BBC. That is Charles Dowding's greenhouse, and you see more tomatoes here, and growing the seeds here, seedlings, and they're getting ready for. Oh, look at the aubergines! I like that. And again, in the greenhouse, we see a balance between the amount of the rows of tomato and herbs like basil. Now, one row also of aubergine. This is the tallest aubergines I've seen so far. It looks like a commercial. Aubergine growers. And at the end, you see some peppers. And a big cucumber, but I don't think they're tasty. They look very tough. And here, triad bed, made in July, May 2015 for my online course, Yakun. Yukon is this kind of things from the Andes. Buka and Yukon. It's a little shed. And then we come to the cabbages, mixed with some flowers. And those are, I think, also those Andean thingies. Oka, I think. That's oka. And then some oriental leaves, then some chervil, I think. And then a courgette in that corner and seedlings for the next generation. These are some of them, I think, are turnip or oriental leaf turnip. They can be oriental leaf. But he don't plant in rows, he plants in plugs. So he will not waste seeds. And a little bit of this hot plant. And a proper place for drying your onions. And some seeds growing here. This is also where Charles Dowding keeps his, that's a conservatory, keeps his chikuris there. The solar panel to provide some money for being off-grid. And that is Charles himself wearing red to be seen properly. Some carrots, some kale. Those are, I think, are the parsnip.
I'll send you an email. Yeah.
Hello, Charles.
How you doing?
Nice to see you, Charles. £20,000 he earns, Charles Dowding, he says, after paying for all the costs and tax and everything. And considering that you will also have your food and also you have your, after all this also, this is just from the land, the vegetables and everything. But considering that he also has courses and lectures and other things, so he will earn enough just to have a life, to enjoy life. You know, at the end of the day, the purpose is just doing what you like. He has done it in the Zimbabwe. He has done it in France, and now he's doing it. He has done it up to 3 years ago. He was somewhere else. Then he came here and settled here and just started again here.
I think in the supermarkets it's often diluted for voter prices. It's so strong.
It's just been pasteurised, and that is brilliant.
This is a cooking apple that he recommends. I have one tree like this. Okay, this is a tree which stays here for many years, and that's another one. The distance between them is about 180 to 2 meters, 180. And this one just probably lasts one season or 1.5 season. So just using this space. And as you see here, there are parsnips. And they're using the space between them to grow some lovely pumpkins and winter squashes. Different kind of apples, and again the winter squash. Oh, look at this asparagus bed. Probably I should have asked Charles to talk over this. When I was talking with him, I should have filmed it. But Charles has had some videos explaining what he is doing. But seeing the vegetables in first hand, for example, this gooseberry, something else. Look at this. On this giant onion, just lonely here. And a bed full of rhubarb and raspberries and onions between them, using the space. That's my idea. Intensive gardening, horticulture. And here we are back with the chicories. And at this stage is producing something. I experimented with many pumpkins, and I found Uchikikuri, Moscow de Provence, and some other ones are really good to grow. These autumn raspberries are doing now, they're getting ready. Quite large size. Love this mass of the lush asparagus. What dense it is. It's taller than me. They're well established here. And these balochi beans, they're ahead of ours. Beautiful. And this is the back of the compost heaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So whatever you invest in compost practically is not wasted. The space is perfect. And this part of it can be used for drying the onions. Okay, dig and no dig methods he's talking about, Charles Dowding. Okay, he says that there is not much difference practical in the harvest, amount of the harvest, the weight of it each year. But the effort you do in digging is the extra job that you impose on yourself, so why bother? That makes logic to me, because I started like that actually. But then, because I had to work and other things, life commitments, I could not really keep on the top of the weeds. So anyway,
She looks really happy at what you're saying, and you look really demonstrated.
you have your baby now, huh? Baby pressed apple juice.
Oh, that's not in space. I've got a few grams in it.
They're not worms, they are.
Organic matter.
No, they are just things from the apple. Your granddad, huh?
Yes, you can see.
Oh, he's growing some tomatoes outside. That's good actually to know that how they will survive.
No sign of blight.
Inside the polytunnel, inside the greenhouse, and look at this aubergine. Really good size, and yet more continue coming. What he has done, he has kept it dry here, and then cutting the leaves and branches which are under the fruiting terrace. So that's the first terrace here. So anything under it is cut because they're not producing anything. I did it once like that, and what happened was that I ended up with blight because water was seeping from here. What's the compost toilet? Let us see how it looks inside. Oh, wood saw. Oh, so simple. And there is some deodorant. Should I lift the lid and see how it looks?
You just go to the toilet, put the wood chip in, and then you just put it out here and compost it.
Three. You can have a conversation, three-way conversation.
Well, you
Three
certainly can,
toilets.
because they will say what you have and you don't have to come in. Then you can survive anywhere you go.
So practically with this you don't need water. So you will have compost also here.
Yeah,
Manure.
certainly can. Sorry.
So you take it out from there. Huh?
Yeah, that's the little door. Where you take
That's
out the
interesting.
bucket.
Compost toilet in Charles Dowding's home acres. Small holding. They don't keep any chicken here, so that's a good source of manure. Human manure also.
Well, I suppose you would have to.
So that is aerated here also. And also the fumes and gases and everything goes up like that. And back into the nature. Persian cress. About a month after sowing the seeds, it looks like this. Really happy about the result also this year. And we had a good end of the summer, it seems. Look at the rocket, wild rocket. That's a typical leaf of a Persian cress. Also, it was good for a spinach. this is a book very close to my heart. It's How to Grow Winter Vegetables by Charles Dowding. Charles Dowding is a famous author now in the UK that promotes the Nordic organic method of gardening. He has personally signed the book for me, and as you see here, and I used to read this book, very close to my heart, of course. I used to read it when I was traveling on train to London and buses and everything. When I was traveling, just instead of looking at out the window, doom and gloom of the London weather, I found very interesting stuff in this book. Always wanted to grow things in the winter beyond the traditional stuff that you grow, like Brussels sprouts and other things that people do. And I wanted to know how can I do it better. I don't like to leave the land idle. In the UK, people have allotment. Allotment means a piece of land that you get from the council to grow or food for your family. And it's kind of a small holding or a homestead way of life, a little farm, smaller scale farm. And you pay rent for that, minimal amount, it's not much. And you easily can earn more than what you pay for that, but just growing and saving the money on this stuff. And this book is published in 2011, and I think I bought it in 2012. And the content of the book is winter's potential, a forgotten season, a winter scene, preparing for winter. Then it comes to the sowing, planting, and growing calendar, what you can grow in different months. Means many times you actually start growing things for winter, not in actually winter itself, because winter is not a season for much growth. You have to start it in August, in July, sometimes in June. And then when the plants are big enough and you have planted them, of course, they will give you the crop in the winter, in the cold season, when there is no other vegetables to grow. And what I found very interesting is all this recommendation, winter harvest, how to store your harvest actually, winter vegetables undercover. Undercover means in the greenhouse or the polytunnel. And yeah, it has all these sections that you see. And what is one of the most heartfelt information I found here was that it says during the late December to the early February, the plants practically stop growing. And I was noticing that myself, and I just found the evidence for that by what he actually says on this. And the plants actually start to grow. The reason is the light levels are very low. Although you can provide heat, but the light level is a final condition that determines how much crop you will have, how much growth the plants will put. So in December up to January, the plants are at the lowest growth level ever, if any growth. The book is in the 232 pages. It is sold in the UK by Green Books, or you can find it in the YouTube, in the ABE Books or Amazon, other websites, secondhand even. Originally it was $14.95. You can buy it probably cheaper. I bought it actually cheaper than this price, probably about £8 or something. You can buy it cheaper, secondhand or firsthand even. It's a very good book. I must say, the wealth of information in it, and how you can do. For example, of course, you cannot grow winter vegetable, cannot grow summer squash, winter squash in the winter. But when you store them, you can use them, and that's what I have done. I will show you. Okay, this is some of the summer squash. This one is summer squash, and it's very hardy. Scallop squash, you may call it. And some winter squash. This one is also again summer squash. This is a butternut squash. And all kinds of this. I have even a marrow at this time of the year. And this is also a marrow courgette, which has grown to be big enough to be a marrow. This is a Lebanese one. This is a stripy one, I think from Italy they are. And this is I think this is a Turk turban. I have it more than 1 year now. So these are the things that you can grow in the winter. And you grow in the summer, of course, and store them for the winter use. But if you have sown something earlier in the month, you can start to use them, harvest them during the cold months of the winter. And also during the winter, at this time of the year, January, December, you can actually grow other things, broad beans, you know that already. Garlics you can plant. and anything that is called horse. What I noticed is the good list of the companies that you can actually go and buy the good seeds in the UK, of course. I don't know, in the United States you can access these publications. And one of the best places that I found was this CN Seeds here, and extremely wide range. I must say that 10 times more seed than any other place, and the price is almost 2/3 of the anywhere else that you can find. And they actually provide for the commercial use, but they have also a small amount of sale to the to the retail, as a retail to the normal people. You can find about the other things also, where to source them. And winter is a good time for starting onions. You can start your sweet peas, flowers. It's very, very nice fragrance flowers that people grow in Britain mostly. I don't know what it is in America. Or then after winter also, you can let some of the plants to actually go to seed, like this lettuce here. Keep the seeds for your own, because the seeds that you actually grow yourself, they're fresh. They have more viability, the vitality in them, and they grow better and quicker, and they give a better crop. You can grow peas, pea shoots. In pea shoots, even in home, you can do it. Buy cheap peas, green peas, and just use them. Here, this is the time of the year that you can start to mulch your land, as Charles Dowding is showing. That's what I do. I do mulch with my own compost or manure, or I use what is available as leaf mold. Very good informative book. It's inspiring. When you read it, you want to go out and do the actual stuff. And what is better than this? Cheap and cheerful. As I told, this is 231 pages of information. In the January 2017 issue of the Country Smallholding magazine, I noticed an article written by Charles Dowding, the pioneer of the no-dig method, popularizer. Of course, no-dig existed before that, but he has popularized it more than anybody else at this decade. And Charles Dowding shows his results, compares growth in the same plants in dug and dug soil during 2016. Kale sown in May, planted in June, and you see the results here. So you have to read it actually, the process, the results. Compost is much more than fertilizer. Yeah, compost is much more than fertilizer. It's actually mulch. And also is a medium that the plant can give roots. And the results are here. This is on the left is a dug bed, and this is undug bed. Of course, you see the parsnip, so the difference talk for itself. This is undug, and that is dug. And all the results are presented here also. And the kale, you see a kale here, you see another kale here. Undug bed is more upright. So in this case, this is the undug one, and this is the dug one. Very interesting. You have to read it, really. That's very interesting results. He has done the 12 vegetables, the results of them presented here, which is in this table. And as you see, total kilogram in the dug and undug bed, you see about 10 kilogram difference between them. Of course, these are not verified by any independent source, so it's not peer-reviewed or anything, but just the result he claims. What I mean is that scientifically it's not proved, it's not peer-reviewed. This is what he says. And okay, at the moment, this is kind of business. So he has courses, he sells books and writes books and sells them, and online courses, residential courses. I mean, you come there and see the actual garden that he has. So this is the result he claims. Nobody else has verified it. It's not validated by peer review. Scientifically, when we say that, it should be by peer reviewed. It should be repeatable. One of the basics of science is that the results should be repeatable. if you just one case or one person says, and just will be something like experience, you cannot really base on that something. But if others can reach the same results, repeating the same experiments and reaching the same results, gradually can be seen as a scientific achievement, scientific fact. That's how the science works. Not how what to create a new vegetable garden, producing a beautiful and fruitful garden from scratch. Charles Dowding, due to private issues that he had in his life, in 2013, I think, or 14, started a new garden. He moved out of the old garden that he had with his family, started a new life somewhere else in Somerset, and bought a new land, and then started to create a garden the way that he started in his previous site. You may find about that previous whole garden that he had in his other's book. But this is a book that relates just to how he created that garden. What I like about the book is that, first of all, it's full of pictures. The way that he done his recreation of a garden. Then the second thing is that he's writing about things that he has done himself. He's not talking about like this. What is that lady? Kristen Klein or something. Iris Fowler and others. Talking about something which is not related really to them. It's just general knowledge. You can pick it from anywhere in any book and just write about it. Kristen Klein, I think is her name. It just, to me, seems like or Alan Titmarsh and others. They're very plasticky, like very industrialized, as if they just pick things from here and there, then make it as if it looks as if they have done it. It's their own contribution, which is not true. But Charles Dowding, although he has his technique of the Nordic gardening, looks very similar to what people are doing here in England. I've seen a lot. We do, that is the raised bed. And I did also the Nordic method in the first year without even knowing that there is such a method, but I just saw that my land is full of weeds. First I removed the bigger weeds, then for the smaller ones I thought that, I cannot really cope with all that. I covered it with a thick layer of mulch, this thick. My mulch was a compost that I had in the allotment from the previous owner, and I spread it over that, and that worked as a mulch. It stopped the weeds growing vigorously, and the whatever grew, I could easily manage and pull them out. So Charles Dowding has basically suggesting such things. He experiments with different kind of mulch, of course, cardboard, paper, compost, homegrown compost, proprietary compost, the one that you buy from the companies and nurseries, and manure, different kind of manures, and also, and he discusses the result that he had from those experiments. The book is published in 2000. If I'm right, where is the publication date? In 2015. Yeah, and for the first time, one of his books is in the hardcover, so that's a good edition. He had 2 more books in hardcover, I should say, actually. But this is a real hardcover with real material related to gardening. So it has 2 parts, contents. Then part 1 is about clearing ground and preparing soil. Part 2, sowing and growing. I really like this book. I take it with me wherever I'm going for a short journey, or long journey even. I take the book with me in my luggage and start to read it. Really enjoyed reading this. Practically because it inspires me. It just makes me feel that, oh yeah, I have to go on to do this myself also. Many of it is common knowledge, common sense, but there's some gems in this. I don't approve some parts of the thing, which he has not discussed it here, but if you look in his website, Charles Dowding talks about something called biodynamics, which doesn't look anything. It's not scientific, it's not science, it's just kind of practically magic. But he has not touched those things. Biodynamic to them, the way that they describe it in the in this book and publications is you think there's something innocent about the lunar cycles and the phases of the moon, planting according to the phases of the moon and so. But when you go to the depth of the biodynamic, it's magic. They believe in some magical things, and they bury things, they have rituals, they have... it's also a business, you know. They say 500, something called 500 is a kind of liquid that they do, and they do spreading around the farm in four corners, a bury a horn, and this silly stuff. But it cannot be convincing that how this rituals affects your land, but not the neighboring land, or if there's a field for it, how far that field is reaching, like the field of gravity or electromagnetic field. It must have a range, and does it change with the reverse of the distance? And square, reverse of the square, reverse of the distance squared. Anyway, whatever. This is about those things. It describes sometimes some parts what you can do in different seasons, how you can protect what kind of mulch you can use if you start from the zero, how to actually start digging, cover your ground, then use it as a mulch, and quite inspiring. I like the way that he has given us also some cards. The way that he has described it is, I really like it. The way that he has done it himself, and he's talking about what he has done actually himself, is really inspiring. You don't find books by people who have done the thing and then they talk about their experience. Charles Dowding is one of those people who does this. By the way, when I was talking with him, he told that he likes actually Jeremy Corbyn, so we can call him probably in a way supporter of Jeremy Corbyn. He's a decent guy, nice, pleasant guy, and a decent human being, and a good gardener. He uses his garden for growing salad leaves for selling to the restaurants. He has videos about it on YouTube. You can find them and watch them. And also he makes vegetable boxes and sell it. And also he has a lot of lectures. Of course, he writes books and sells his books. His books are selling well.